been more than 30 years since Voyager passed through this region of space. But the echoes of what Captain Janeway and her crew did linger. We need to reestablish relationships here. I'm assigning you a region of space to patrol. Meet the locals and find out how things stand in the Delta Quadrant today.
Commander Van Zyl, are you finding excuses to talk to me? She points out a continuing theme from the last mission, where we relocated the Talaxians to a new homeworld. Janeway's original mission touched a lot of cultures, even briefly, but we do need to see who in the Delta Quadrant still remembers the Federation, and try to build off of that. Who knows if we're here to stay, so we begin our system patrols. Looks like we're heading to the Argala system, but on the way some interesting readings catch our eye. We encounter a debris field, the site of a massive battle it seems, and the wreckage is all Borg. Tarsi's scans point out there is just no debris that has differing signatures, meaning whoever destroyed the Borg suffered no casualties, or at least cleaned up after themselves. The field of debris is expansive and seems to be made up of several cubes, maybe 4, it's hard to tell. We move into decent scanning range and begin to investigate. If we're here to make allies, someone who can deal with the Borg could be useful. The debris cannot have been here too long, it's not drifted too far apart, but before we can complete our scans, some Kazon emerge from nearby, previously hidden from our sensors, and they declare the salvage theirs. I would like to say that we're not here for the salvage, just to conduct an investigation, but honestly, the idea of the Kazon getting a hold of Borg tech is, well, it's a rather worrying one. They'd probably get themselves assimilated or something. We exchange fire with the large Kazon carrier. Kazon tech is not a match for Starfleet's level of advancement, especially since the future tech brought back by the USS Voyager leapfrogged Starfleet R&D by an additional 30 years. But the sheer bulk of the carrier does mean it has a rather large power source and heavy armour. They possess large hangars that deploy the more familiar Kazon Raiders, which will continue to be sent after us until the carrier is neutralised. I have no idea what sect this vessel belongs to, they won't respond to our hails. Engaging these carriers, they should be the priority targets to prevent them from launching more Raiders. However, letting the Raiders slip by is a sure way to increase the amount of cannons pointing at us, so ignoring the additionals for too long is not a good idea. The carrier is very sluggish and not very manoeuvrable, so once we've opened up a hole in their shielding, we can keep on that flank and press our advantage. The danger of these fights is simply that if it takes too long, with the constant raiders spawning in and the high durability of the carrier, we risk being worn down. We return to the debris field to finish our sensor sweep. Temet detects a remnant weapons signature, but it doesn't match anything in our database. When we first arrived here, Commander Van Zyl informed us that the Krenim Imperium had been brought to its knees by another power, a new player in the Delta Quadrant that isn't us, one that we've had trouble identifying. The Imperium was a powerful empire that developed temporal weapons, resulting in a shifting timeline of reality that better suited their people. And even though all that damage was undone, they remained a powerful nation of the Delta Quadrant. Could whoever have thrashed them be responsible for this too? The next debris field yields some better results. We detect an intact Borg data node. Maybe it has readings on it from their attackers. Dragging it clear of the wreckage with a tractor beam, we move in to begin a data transfer. The information is unfortunately corrupted. There are readings of an unknown vessel, unknown to us or the Borg is unclear, but the unusual weapons signatures we detected earlier were ones that the Borg had also never encountered, and if the Borg don't know something, then they cannot adapt to it, so the shields would have been ineffective. Tarsi recognises the hulk of this particular derelict as a former tactical cube. That is impressive. Tactical cubes make regular Borg vessels look tame. Midway through another scan, and another Kazon carrier warps in. As before, they're not interested in talking. and as all Kazon ships appear the same from the outside, we've got no way of knowing if this vessel is affiliated with the previous, perhaps answering a distress call, part of the salvage operation, or a different sect altogether. One also seeking to pick at the carcass of these beasts like carrion crows. With the threats dealt with, we can review our findings. Tarsi summarises for us. The lack of debris from anything other than the Borg suggests that their opponents were either unharmed or cleaned up after themselves to maintain secrecy. She also reckons that the debris field could have already been picked clean by scavengers like the Kazon. Plausible, as these carriers are large enough to ferry a fair chunk of salvage, and we cannot assume that them showing up was their first run. She does say that there are no signs of it being Species 8472, and I agree, we're already quite familiar with their weapon signatures, and so are the Borg. Whoever this was, it was an unknown, but they dealt with a potential threat to Starfleet for us, and the enemy of my enemy. We continue our assigned patrol route. Entering the Agala system, its rose dust clouds tinting the sunlight with a vibrant display, we find the Kazon in the midst of a battle with what appears to be the Bethan Protectorate. Quick, Tarsi, what do we know about the Bethan Protectorate? Okay, so prior to the Delta Alliance's presence in this area, Starfleet's only exchange with them was a brief one, but amiable. Okay. Amid a case of mistaken identity in 2374 in the Catawba Expanse, the USS Voyager assisted in the apprehension of a criminal genome thief that could biologically shift identities. Well, in that case, we'll help out these ships too in fending off the Kazon.
You have entered an area controlled by the Benthan Guard. Our scans indicate your ship is armed and operational.
Very astute.
And you have demonstrated your ability to assist in an ongoing operation. You will either join our squadron as a deputized Protectorate officer, or clear the area immediately.
Sorry, who now what? Deputy? Like a cop? You want to deputize the USS Armature as part of the Benthan Guard? Look, the Federation has rules about interfering with the political and military structure of another species. Then again, space cops.
You are now my deputy. We are here to apprehend a suspect wanted in multiple systems for crimes not limited to theft, coercion, destruction of private property, and murder. When you arrived, we were dealing with one of this criminal's lieutenants. We've tracked the suspect to this system. Your assistance in this matter is required, and appreciated.
Well, at least he seems genuine. Alright, Sheriff, what's our next step?
Looks like our fight got them to notice us. Let's go over and ask if their boss might come out of hiding.
The Kazon raiders are all clustered together like piranhas waiting to swarm our ships, so we can try to divide them by drawing one away from its squad. Well, it more or less kind of worked. They want to stick together, it seems. This is annoying. Well, in this case, we'll need to focus our fire on one target at a time.
Keep concentrating fire on individual ships. Separate them. Whittle down their numbers.
Great minds think alike, partner. Yeah, I could get used to being a space deputy. Hang on, wait. Kazon are the bad. The Benthans are the good. Hey.
You will stand down. Surrender to the Benthan Guard.
I don't think they're listening, partner.
Sensors are picking up small habitations in some of the asteroids. Possibly consistent with Bolton's temporary hideout.
This is turning into a larger firefight than I think he expected. The Bethan commander was kind of drowned out by the sound of battle, but he was just saying how they've detected numerous hollows in the asteroids that he suspects are being used as the Kazon's holdouts.
We do what we want, where we want.
It seems we've stumbled on the Kazon's base of operations in this area. I wonder what sect we're dealing with. It's good to know that the Kazon are making a nuisance of themselves with other species, not just the Talaxians and us. The Benthan Guard, from all of our sources, are a reasonable sort, and maybe our aid here will go some way towards showing the Federation's sincerity to maintain order and not upset a local balance. After all, here we are, helping the local lawman maintain order. with a barrage of superheated phaser fire. Halt! You violated the law. Pay the court a fine or serve your sentence. Your stolen goods are now forfeit.
I'm taking you with me.
Then pay with your blood! Sorry, too much holodeck time. Our destruction of the Kazon forces has pulled the Maj out of hiding in his flagship, a powerful carrier. According to the Benthan files, this is first Maj Kurz, and this seems to be almost the entirety of his sect, possibly the one responsible for much of the local issues we've encountered, but we cannot be sure unless we take him in alive. His vessel suddenly loses power and a breach begins to vent dried plasma. I think his ship is disabled. Time to mop up the rest, and if they're smart, they'll scatter.
That's got it. Excellent work. We'll send over a pacification party to take the suspect into custody.
Roger that, Commander. Need a hand to corral this varmint?
Thank you for your assistance, and welcome to this sector. We recommend that you get underway and head for secure space. There's been a lot of turbulent activity recently, and multiple reports of danger to travelers.
We'll head back to the Genolan sphere. Anything I should be aware of?
There have been rumors that the Borg are fighting large-scale battles. We have little evidence of who against or why as of yet, but we are finding the aftermaths of such conflicts. Whoever's been fighting the Borg has caused significant damage to the collective. We're taking a cautious approach until we know more. I suggest you do the same.
Interesting. We've seen the relics of these rumours firsthand, so now we know this has been happening since before our presence here. Thankfully it's no one from the Alliance then, or anyone we've brought with us.
We have the suspect in custody now, and we also apprehended a fair number of his associates. This part of space will be safer without their influence. I'm dispatching medics to treat any wounded so they can stand trial, and an engineering team to ensure his ship is stable so we can tow it back to base. Thank you. We have it from here.
So that was a productive day. We ended up a deputy for the Benthan Protectorate and potentially have established a dialogue with them that the Alliance diplomats can work on. By playing by their rules, we're at least showing our willingness to work together, even if it does mean stretching the Prime Directive a little. As for the mysterious figure swatting down the Borg, not they nor the Benthan Guard knows exactly who. Hopefully, whoever they are, they'll prove as level-headed as our police friend here. After all, let's not forget the looming shadow of the Iconian re-emergence that brought us here to begin with. Destroying the Borg isn't as impressive a feat as it used to be, but it takes a power at least on par with Starfleet to do such, and for an organisation of such scale to operate in secrecy? Who are they, and why does nobody seem to know where they've come from?
We've received a distress call from the USS Callisto, which was on a research mission in a little explored area of the Delta Quadrant. We're not sure what happened to the Callisto, but we need someone to check it out. There are a lot of people on the Callisto, good Starfleet officers and researchers. Bring them home.
Well, questions that'll have to wait, it seems. Or perhaps not. We have a distress call to answer, and I hope to see you back for the next part as we hit episode 50 of Star Trek Online. Until then, thanks again. I've been Deputy Rick, and goodbye.